Hi everybody, my name is Paloma Aguilar and I'm going to explain you the final delivery that it's about a book called Taste and Other Tales by Roald Dahl. Okay, Roald Dahl was a British novelist, short story writer, poet, screenwriter, and fighter pilot. He was born on September 13th, 1916. Um, his main works are, for example, James and the Giant Peach, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Matilda, The Witches, and Tales of the Unexpected, and others. This author is recognized because of their unexpected endings in his stories, and his darkly comic mood on them. So is his own style of literature. Taste and Other Tales is the book that we've read, and it was in this book there was 9 short stories, and it was published in 1999 in England. The characters of the stories are all ordinary people on the surface, but have a dark and often cruel side to their nature. This is also one of the things that is about the author's own style of literature, as in every story they write. One of these 9 short stories of this book is The Sound Machine. This is the story about a man who is so worried about the sounds of the world that we the human beings, we can't listen. So he said that everything in this world have their own sound, but it is a shame that we can't not listen to it. So this man wants to create this machine to listen all of the sounds in the planet. So a neighbor of him, that it's a woman who is cutting the garden, the flowers of the garden. It's near him, and the man start to listen that in the moment that the woman is cutting the flowers, he listened through the machine a sound that is cruel and bad, and is like screams and bad screams and cryings and everything of bad feelings. And he realized that those sounds come from the flowers, is the screams of the flower suffering by being cutting by this woman. After that, he wants to make the same thing but with a tree, a big tree. So he called a guy that is his doctor, who is always helping him because sometimes he's kind of sick and seems to have psychological problems. So this doctor is taking care of him, and when the man wants to show him that his machine is working, he calls the doctor and the doctor came to where he is. And okay, so in this moment, the doctor is going to hear through the machine the sound that make a tree for being cut by the man, the main character. And when it is about to happen, a storm break down some piece of the tree, and the doctor couldn't listen to it. And that's the end of the story. Nothing. Okay, the other short story of this book is The Way Up to Heaven. This story is about a old couple who lives far the New York City, and they live in a mansion with many butlers and workers in there, and there are two people. The woman, okay, in the couple, the woman is a woman that it's always scared to being late to anything. So to being late at the plane, meeting, etc. In the other hand, is her husband that is slow, and he's not. He seems not to be in a hurry, never. So the woman is always so angry or anxiety, I don't know, with anxiety because of her husband. Um, and she was going to go to a trip to visit her daughter who lives in another country. And going to the airport, the husband doesn't hurry, and she was so worried for lose the plane. And after many difficulties, the woman decided to go alone without her husband, who delayed her. So the husband stayed in that big mansion, and after she go to the airport, she realized that something inside the mansion, where it was her husband, was happening. But anyway, she goes to the trip. 4 weeks later, he arrived again to their big mansion, and he realized that her husband, this day, the last day, when she was going for the first time, he realized that this day her husband got stuck in the lift, and he was there until the day that she returned. So that's the end of the story. Like, as we can see, is a final, an ending, like macabre. In my personal opinion, I recommend to read this book because first of all, it's so easy to read, and it's nice to read it because it's literature. So it's nice to read it. But also, I think that this kind of stories that doesn't have a happy ending as always, as most of the short stories. It's nice to read it because of the feelings that it generates to the reader. Um, so I think that the author could make this book of short stories that everyone should read it.